Welcome to the Limitless Ladies Network. We are a network of women helping women build holistic, empathetic self-care and well-being. Welcome to today's session. It is brought to you by Rise Coffee. That's RYZE coffee. I've actually been using Rise Coffee, mushroom coffee, and creamer. Their coconut creamer is amazing for quite some time. I actually got started on it when I had my Lyme disease diagnosis and they gave me cordyceps, and I found that this coffee had cordyceps along with a couple other adaptogenic mushrooms in it, and I thought, what the heck, give it a try. And it actually really did help with a lot of aches and pains that I had, also my mood, my brain fog that I had. So I've been using it for about 2 years now, so I love it. So I totally encourage anybody to give it a try. If they're experiencing any of that, I had a couple of friends that tried it as well and had similar results. So they're currently doing a 40% off discount. And if you use my affiliate link, it would be www.riseryzesuperfoods.com/2 as in the number 2, thrive, THRIVE. And I'll put that in the show notes after. And so before we get started, of course, we always have to do our lovely disclaimers. Please note that this content is provided for general informational purposes only. Today is supposed to be really fun. So we're not using this advice for any professional medical advice or therapeutic advice necessarily. We're not using this to diagnose or treat any medical or health conditions, and those seeking treatment for any specific disease or ailment or medical or mental illness, obviously you should seek a qualified physician. We make no representations, nor any warranties, nor assume any liability for the content herein. So let's get started. As we enter into this mystical and magical season of October, what better time for us to kind of delve a little bit into some of the cool things like tarot card reading. I personally love them. I've actually had several readings done in my life, and just find that they have been kind of insightful as things are happening, and I just kind of am maybe at a loss to what it is that's happening around me and looking for some guidance. Of course, I always make the choice, depending on what the reading says, there's always information and you have to make the choice to kind of guide yourself in what feels right for you. But I do find that tarot cards are pretty insightful, fun, and can just kind of help guide you maybe along the way. So it's my pleasure to have Mystical Cat here today, who's joining us from beautiful Mystic, I believe, one of my favorite places on earth, to help demystify tarot cards for us. So Cat, tell us, how did you actually get into tarot cards?
Well, hello. Nice to see you again, and nice to be here for this talk. Yes, how did I get into tarot cards? It was a long time ago. I think my gateway drug for tarot cards was astrology, and astrology brought me to the more esoteric types of ways of gaining insight and introspection and that kind of thing. And that brought me to tarot. And tarot really spoke to me because of the images. I'm tend to be very visual person, visual learner. I remember things visually. It's a lot of visual for me. So tarot really spoke to that part of me and helped make it, I think, easier for me to remember the symbolism or interpret and retain symbolism because of the very visual nature of the cards. So it was part of an overall study of all things esoteric.
Very cool. They do have quite a few interesting cards, that is for sure. So what's the history, do you know, behind tarot cards?
So the history is a mystery in many ways, and in other ways, maybe not so much. So it's like there are many written sources. And the first sort of written sources we see on like history of tarot come from the late 1700s. And there's people claiming, oh, this was the last thing that survived the fires of the libraries of Alexandria. in Egypt in ancient times, and the only thing that survives is this book on gold leaf that's tarot card. Yeah, okay. There's also another source that says 171 years after the Great Flood, tarot cards were invented by Moses. Okay. And there's other people that say, no, no, it comes from the Kabbalah. And others that say, no, it's an ancient Roman philosopher, Iamblichus, who developed tarot cards. And then there's China, India, Buddhism, Moses, Sufis, Cathars, the Roma people. Really, it's kind of this shrouded in mystery, and I think maybe mostly because some people wanted to speculate and maybe make a name for themselves by saying, oh, I know definitively where it comes from. What we do know. Oh, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to say, I guess that makes sense that they're all trying to latch on to something that can predict the future based off of, it sounds like different religions and different cultures, right? Everybody wants to have some way to understand what's happening in today's world and or look to the future, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point because there are a lot of divination systems, right? Like in China, or you have I Ching, and Norse cultures had runes, and there's also cultures where bones are baked into, like a sacrificial animal, where bones are baked into the fire, and then the way they crack tells you certain things. There's tea leaves, there's so many forms of divination, and tarot is specific to like cards
Yeah.
as a form of divination. So yeah, I think you're right. I think lots of cultures want to know. What we can say is that the actual evidence that we have shows that tarot seems to have emerged right around the time playing cards emerged, so late 1300s.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they sort of emerged sort of together or in tandem, but they cross and interweave the development of one with the other. Playing cards were seen as, I don't know, a sin or evil in Western culture, and they were condemned and banned in certain towns and nations. Yeah, it might have been the betting, the gambling, the
Yeah.
fighting. That was actually getting banned. But so that's like late 1300s. And then we have the game, um what is it? Il wait, let me get my Italian right here. uh Carte dei Trionfi. Carte dei Trionfi, cards, they were playing cards, the cards of triumph. And it was like this game and had all these cards, and the cards had like the way we would think of cards, like four of clubs or whatever, but it wasn't clubs. But suits, and then also cards that were like people, right? People from the court, the knight, the queen, the court astrologer. No.
I mean, that kind of plays into actually the tarot cards, right? Because you have the Empress, the Emperor, you've got the Joker, so, or not really the Joker, it's the Fool, I guess, right? Which seems like the Joker in playing cards. So,
Mhm. Yeah, so that's where, and then there was a set of cards developed called tarocchi, again, also in Italy, tarocchi, which is the closest we can get to the actual word tarot, right? And it was a different game from Il Trionfi, but it was similar but different enough. They wanted a name for it that was different. So, but really, the origin of tarot would have to kind of depend on what you would define as tarot cards, like how strict do you want to be about it? How
yeah.
22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana, blah, blah. Um,
Yeah, so what do those mean? Like major arcana and the minor arcana.
So, so the major arcana would be, first of all, major and minor arcana are the ways to sort of divide up cards that appear different. So
Okay.
the major arcana would be cards that are kind of like most of them are persons, but some of them are things like the Fool, the Magician, the Empress, the Emperor, etc. With the minor arcana, now we're looking at cards that are more like a playing deck, where the
Yeah.
four suits and then court cards, right? With tarot, those are put together into one deck. So you have the major arcana and the minor arcana as close to playing cards, and major arcana as just larger concepts, really. And there's some thinking that says the major arcana, there are 22 cards that are all numbered. And so they're in a certain order that some people perceive to be the the sort of stages of the journey of life from the Fool to the World. Um,
Okay. Nice.
yeah, yeah. So it's and when we go to like tarot key versus tarot, there's the thinking is people played these games that with these cards, and then eventually some people were like, hey, they started using them as like, oh, look, the hermit. You get the hermit all the time. You're probably like gonna get, I don't know, excommunicated or something. So they started like playing around with divination. This is the speculation, the theory. And then it just got more and more to be an actual thing that people were doing for real. Yeah.
Interesting. They just kind of put some meaning behind it, I guess. Right?
Right. And then like a system where, and then like a practice whereby people asked other people to look at their cards.
Hmm. So when you do, and I know there's spreads that you can do as well. So there's like a 7 card spread, which is sort of a horseshoe shape. And then there's another that is like 10 cards that are sort of like a cross and a line, I think, and how they do it. So what's the difference in kind of how those are read?
Yeah, so a tarot spread, yeah, that's what they're typically called. And what it just refers to is that like a pattern of putting the cards down on the table,
Yeah.
right? And then each position in a spread is related to a certain aspect of your life. So the cards themselves uh, depict or symbolize people, events, and experiences we encounter in our everyday lives, or maybe once in a lifetime with any luck for some of them. Uh, but then the spread, it looks at what the card is about, right? The person, event, or experience in a certain situation. Like, was it in your past? Is it in your present? Is it an obstacle? Is it
Yeah.
what other people think? So it sort of combines those two things. Now, in terms of what spread means, I think tarot spreads, there's so many different ways to do it, so many different spreads. You could do a basic yes, no. You could do a past, present, future. You could do, I was doing an event yesterday where I did a 5 card spread because I had like 5 minutes per person. So I'm trying to do it quickly. And that looked at where you were, where you are now, what the obstacles are, the suggestions for this, and the outcome.
Hmm.
So just a quick way to talk to someone and get at the most relevant points. Then
Yeah.
there's like an astrology spread where there's 12 cards and each one is a different month of the year. So it's sort of combined with astrology, but also like a year ahead look.
Yeah, because that's what another question I was going to ask was, how closely tied is it to astrology? So it sounds like depending on what reading, I guess, that you're getting and how it's spread out, then it could potentially be tied to astrology. Or is it somewhat pulling into astrology with the cards and the meanings of them?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot about tarot that can be related to astrology. How intentional that is,
Mm.
a mystery.
Yeah.
Like I said, the history is a mystery, and then did who knew that this would come up like this? It's also related to numerology, and how intentional is that?
Mm.
We don't know, but I can tell you that in modern tarot, we have a definite sense of, especially the major arcana, being related to different either signs of the zodiac or planets. So, for instance, like the Justice card in major arcana is related to Libra. And
Mm.
see how scales of justice of Libra and then the concept of justice for the tarot card would be related. And the tower would be related to the planet Mars, right? And Emperor is like Aries, and the Sun card related to the sun.
Yeah.
That one's easy. And then the minor arcana that are the number cards, right? Ace through 10. And then the court cards, page, knight, queen, king. For those, it's more the different suits. So there's 4 suits, typically rods, pentacles, swords, and I'm gonna lose my mind right now because I can't. Um, I know
Aces or something? Isn't there an aces?
swords, rods, pentacles,
I
wand.
thought, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
I heard that. Why? Why?
I thought it was aces I saw in there.
Aces are number one.
Okay.
Yeah. Where is my head?
I brought out my
Cups.
my own little book of tarots this morning.
Cups is the one I left out, which
Oh,
is interesting.
cups.
How about that? Anyway, so 4 suits, cups, rods or wands, pentacles, and swords. Now, with that, the astrological interpretation goes with the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water. And then when you're doing that, there are signs like earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I don't, I wouldn't say that there are certain um, earth is Earth is Pentacles. I wouldn't say there are certain Pentacle cards that are necessarily related to Taurus or other ones that are related to Virgo, but the idea is that Pentacles are like an earth suit, and cups are a water suit,
Hmm.
and swords are an air suit, and wands are a fire suit.
Hmm.
So you can take those associations and run with them, or you can never think about astrology at all and still do really good tarot card readings.
Hmm. I mean, in my mind, it always seems like it is related to the astrology and or what you're saying, right? Your birth signs, right? And how those kind of interact. It's just interesting to me.
It's really interesting to me too. I like to combine them. So
Yeah.
look at someone's birth chart and look at a reading and do a reading and see like what themes come up. And also, a lot of times with astrology, it's like, oh boy, Pluto's having a fun time with you right now. And Pluto digs up the shadow, what's being been hidden, and it uncovers it, exposes it, but it also gives a chance to transform. Um, and then I may do like a card reading that helps us pinpoint better where those issues may come up.
Yep, I know. I've had a reading with you, and it's very interesting how some of those things actually came to fruition, right? It's just like it's
Yeah.
hard to, and that was like 2 years ago now, I think. And just looking back in retrospect, it's like, wow, it was pretty accurate, you know?
It works. Astrology works. You don't have to believe in it. It's gonna do its thing. And just like tarot works, and I can't explain how.
Yeah.
I
I
just know that the feedback I get is that it does.
does, yeah. It has come true to me in a lot of the readings that I've had. And sometimes it is kind of interesting to hear the reading and then trying to analyze what that means, right? Because everybody has their own perspective on, how they want to perceive what that reading is. Do I take that information and what do I do with it, right? So you
Mm,
still have your choice in life again, but it still feels like it guides you, even for me when I had our reading before and it was like between two different businesses and what do I do? And I've had this angst over this one and that one has to go away and then you start something else and it's going to flourish and but I feel as though even though I've had that, I was kind of like questioning, is that really accurate? Like I'm still not sure that that's correct, but yet the universe in some strange way, right, just kind of keeps almost nudging me in that direction. So you kind of
yeah.
go with the astrology part of that whole birth chart too, which I know we're kind of getting off on a tangent from tarot, but they do work together, it seems, right? You've got that pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, they really can. And what you're talking about now, I think is really important. So whatever anyone says about your reading, the cards that come up, your birth chart, your numerology, your runes, whatever it may be, know that it's not like fate or doom or set in stone.
Yep.
You can make different choices. You can start to think differently. You can shift your mindset and have different outcomes. And when I say astrology is going to have its way, it's going to unfold. But what you can do, first of all, is be aware ahead of time and be like, okay, heads up, this could be occurring. What tools do I have for this? And what choices can I make today that will ease my passage through this time?
Yeah.
Also, when making a choice, never, please never ask a reader, like, what should I do? And a good reader hopefully won't tell you what to do. They will say, okay, well, if you choose this, here's what I see around that. And if you choose this, here's what I see around that. So it's up to you. When I look at this, we're seeing these kinds of things. So that might be a direction to go in if that's what you want. When I look over here, I see these kinds of things. So that might be a direction you go to because of those reasons, or a direction you stay away from. But
Right.
you get to choose.
Yes. There is always a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of using, and I'm not saying you are, I'm saying I've had people try to make me do this, try to sort of pressure me into making the choice for them. And
Right.
I can't do that. I can tell you what, if you make this choice in this way, what kind of comes up around that, but I can't be like, oh, do this for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't take away their own choices, right? I mean, that's part of life. You have to live through whatever
Mm,
choices that you make, and
mhm.
it's a journey, so you have to deal with the consequences. Or like you said, it's good to have maybe that upfront kind of heads up to say, hey, you know what, if you were to go here, or do this, that there might be something that you should look out for, like the pitfalls, right? Or just prepare yourself in some way, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's what is it? Oh, there's a great saying that I can't think of right now that's about preparation. Uh,
It's key, right? It's good to
yeah.
have, with anything, it's always good to be prepared and not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If it does that for you, why not, right?
Yeah, why not be like as informed as you possibly can be going into whatever's coming up next?
Totally.
Yeah.
So I know we only have a few minutes left actually of our half-hour time that we had, but I wanted to ask you about a couple of cards that tend to kind of get people a little upset sometimes when they see them, like the death card or the hanged man, or the
Mm,
it can be a little
yeah,
scary when you see them come up, especially death, right?
right. Everybody's like, I'm
Oh my
gonna die.
God.
Yeah, and naturally, right? I'm not saying, oh, these people are so foolish because they think this. Naturally, it says the death card. Like, of course you think it means you're about to die. Um, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. And I can say that only once have I had done a reading for someone who I only found out after the reading was terminal and would be passing soon.
Wow.
And this person did not get the death card.
Hmm.
They got a card of moving on to the next phase
Hmm.
and not the death card. So, for me, that really helps like cement the idea that the death card isn't about death. But what is it about? I mean, it tends to be scary looking. Let's see, I got a deck out right now because I thought it would be fun to share that. And then I got distracted and didn't find the death card. Oh, good. It's right here. So let's see, it's gonna
Yeah,
go. Oh,
that's a good one right there. Yep.
yeah. Yeah, so this one's dancing and that's nice, but it is
Exactly.
dancing. I've got
I
I've
like
what's up?
I like that.
I know we should dance.
Yes.
Here's the Golden Visconti tarot, which is it's a very old tarot.
That
So
one is a little creepy, I have to say.
right, that one's
And the
creepy.
vibe on that one as much as being happy with like
Uh-huh. It's not.
releasing something and bringing in something new.
Yeah, so what essentially is death? Death is a transformation, a shedding of an old skin and stepping into a new one. So death card is very symbolic of leaving leaving something behind and moving into a new like not new life necessarily, but a new perhaps way of life, a new
Right.
way of being. Because as a major arcana tend to deal with the bigger concepts and events and experiences in life. So it would be a pretty large step in a certain direction where you shed an old skin. You move past it.
Basically, it's kind of like a metamorphosis to me, where you're going from one thing like a butterfly or caterpillar rather, right? That whole
Mhm.
cocoon thing, and you shut it off and you become a butterfly.
Yeah, I love that word, metamorphosis. Yeah. And death is related to the death card is related to Pluto, who is the god of the underworld, right? And who is there to help transmute, transform, metamorphose souls.
Yeah.
So yeah, get the death card, know that big change is coming, but it's not the kind of change that will kill you, right? It's going to make you stronger.
Yes. What does not kill us makes us stronger. That I do know. Words
Yeah.
to live by. Totally.
Yes, we know. So what was, oh, this one, people are afraid of this one a lot, and it might not have a reputation like the death card, but as soon as people see it, they tend to get nervous, and you'll see why. Three of Swords.
Ah.
Unfortunately, it is pretty much what it looks like. It is about heartache, heartbreak, intense emotions, very deep. But understand that it isn't just about like a love or romantic thing, like love match or romance thing. There are many ways our hearts can be broken, many ways we can experience intense emotion. So if you see that, it doesn't mean, oh no, I'm going to get divorced or they're going to break up with me. It's never that simplistic.
Hmm.
Any other cards? What was another card I was
The
thinking?
devil is a good one.
Devil. Oh, that is a good one. Here's the devil card here. And
Ah.
these cards, yeah, this one's intense. These cards are the Tarot de Saint Croix, Saint
Okay.
Croix or Saint Croix. I don't know how she says it. It's an independent tarot creator. I love her work. And yeah, the devil card is is not a demon or devil or anything related to Christian or Judeo-Christian thinking. It is a card that points us to our own undoing. What self-sabotaging do we do? How do we imprison ourselves? Um, what patterns of behavior do we have that maybe we're trapped in or that trap us in a place we don't really want to be? You know, the devil is kind of our own self-undoing. It's how
I feel
it
like I've had that a lot.
probably we've all had it a lot, like honestly in life.
Yeah,
It's it's easy to
imposter syndrome, right? Basically.
yeah. Yeah, imposter syndrome or just fear of success.
Yeah.
So we kind of sabotage whenever we start to get some momentum. Or just relationship patterns that we end up in over and over and over again. And so the devil card can really alert us to where am I kind of stuck in a pattern that
Hmm.
isn't serving me well? So this is great information, right? Like
It is.
you'd, you'd want to know if you were stuck in a pattern that wasn't serving you well.
Yeah, because sometimes you're so into it and it's just so habitual, right? That you just don't realize that it is a pattern until one day you wake up. If you wake up, right, and realize that it's a pattern.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And that it's a thing that you can have an effect on and make changes around. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So good stuff.
yeah. Now, the other one you talked about was the hanged one, and I've got one here.
Yeah.
And with this, I don't know that there's any deck where it actually looks like the person's being
Like,
hanged.
okay.
Yeah, hopefully not, but I mean, it could be, and that's,
Yeah.
that's it's all good. However, an artist wants to interpret major arcana, but the hanged one is about really about a shift in perspective, about getting a 180 on whatever you're going through. And trying to see it from another point of view or another side or flip your thinking. It can also speak to like letting something go so something else can come in. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, but nobody's getting hanged. I,
No, which is good.
yeah,
Yeah. We don't have those days anymore, thank God. Well, we hope we don't have those days anymore.
yeah, I know. Knock wood. We don't know what days we're
This
having up next.
awesome stuff. So if anyone wants to find you for a reading, because now's the time, it seems, right? With the holiday, I'm sure that you must be super busy this time of year, the spooky season.
Yeah, yeah, this is a really popular time for readers.
Where's the best place for people to find you?
Um, I I think my website went down recently. I'm not even sure why, and I have to look into that. But you can email me at mysticcat tarot at gmail.com. So I can maybe put that in the chat, but not necessarily everyone's gonna see that, right?
I think it
So
will.
it's
Everyone, yep.
okay. MYSTICKATAROT. Mystic Cat Tarot, kind of all one word and only one T between cat and tarot because I don't know, it looked cleaner, so I liked it that way.
Your Facebook page I found is also facebook.com / mystic cat, KATTAROT, right?
Okay, right. I haven't looked at Facebook in so long, but yes, there's a Facebook page. I also have some podcasts that I did quite a while ago, but I do go into things like numerology, astrology,
Awesome.
um, cards that are perceived to be scary. And if you want to find me there, it's Tarot Talk with Mystic Cat. No, I'm just, yep, Tarot Talk Mystic Cat.
Awesome.
Trying to see, there's so many tarot talks. Who knew when I first made the name that there would be that many? It seemed so self-evident. Maybe that's why. But yeah, yeah, that's my information.
Awesome. And I am pasting in here to the link for the Rise Coffee in case anybody wants any of that.
Great.
And also want to encourage anybody to join into the Limitless Ladies Network, where we will continue doing some webinars on some great topics like this, as well as some others, to build up our holistic well-being. This was kind of a fun one to do, so I appreciate you joining me, Kat, on this one. And look forward to posting up the video. It will be available on our website under videos and recordings. There's also a directory of holistic practitioners out there as well, and helpful resources that ladies can get to. So please be sure to check us out, and I will put that link out there as well. That way it's available to sign up for any future upcoming events. I can just copy that, paste it in there.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's really fun to talk about tarot.
Thanks, I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
Yay.
Gives some good insights. So I love just hearing the history and, some of the backstory of it and the cards and what it all means and the layout, just to give us a little bit more of a insight into just sitting down and somebody telling you this is potentially what your future could be, right? Get some
Right?
great. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your month, and hopefully you get to enjoy some of this beautiful fall foliage. It's going to be beautiful out.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.